There is no greater feeling in the world quite like remembering some of the silly, the goofy, the crazy, the dumb, the old, and the well-remembered of wrestling. And the new gen, it has everything you could want, from the dizzying highs to the terrifying lows. From Hasbro Toys and their Grapplers and Gimmicks line, a tribute line to the original WWF Hasbros, this is their Greg Garard and their Mike Drosse, better known to most of us as Oscar from Men on a Mission and Duke the Dumpster Drosse, one of the all-time great jobbers, right up there with the Brooklyn Brawler for me. I cannot wait to open these guys up first, especially because Hasbro gave me two of my absolute favorite WWF Hasbro style figures ever with their Men on a Mission. Now, because of that, I'm actually going to open up Oscar second. Let's see how Duke the Dumpster feels, and then we can cap it off with our kind of Men on a Mission reunion tour. Looking at Mike Drosse first, I really do like how Hasbro does their boxes. It looks very similar to the old Hasbro, and I love the red, white, and blue here on the side. Very fitting. On the back, you can see they have the design documents. They have a description of the toy line. You can see right here, collect them all. Mike Drosse, got him. British Bulldog 92 and Diana Hart-Smith. Going back and forth on that one, because I want the Davy Boy. Don't care about the Diana Hart. And then, of course, we have Oscar over there. And then we can see the credits down here. I do enjoy it when toys do this. Creative lead was Mitch Rolston. The concept artist was Joe Sibley. Action art was Carl Jenkins. The figure sculpt was Sean Cohen. And the package design was also Sean Cohen. I think more toys need to have credits like that. It's nice to know who's actually making these things, right? So, let's actually open this guy up now. Here's the thing I want to say right off the bat. It was actually really hard to open up that bubble. I know the Men on a Mission packaging apparently had some issues where Mabel and Mo were falling off the card. So, maybe they've kind of corrected, maybe they've overcorrected, because it's really tight now. Looking at the figure, this is good stuff, man. The likeness is really solid. Can I get that head turning? Ooh, and that's a bit stiff. It might be the hair holding it back. But it is a good likeness, especially if you're going for the Hasbro style. You can go up with this arm, all the way around. There's, of course, no gimmicks in the Hasbros, but you do still have a waist joint, and then nothing in the legs. But the sculpt looks really good. I kind of love how barrel-chested he is. Like, he's cartoonishly top-heavy, which I'm not familiar enough with Duke the Dumpster Drosse to know if that's actually accurate. But from a toyetic standpoint, I love it, because it just makes him look even goofier. He does come with an accessory. He comes with this trash can, which is a very, very nice silver. You can open it up, but weirdly enough, it's brown on the inside. And I can kind of figure out, like, maybe that's to make sure that there's no paint rub, like if you put the can on his head or something. But, it is kind of odd. It doesn't matter. It is the most nitpicky of nitpicks, but it is there. And I do love how bent up this trash can is. It looks like he's hitting people with it. Now, his hands can kind of hold it. If you can get it like this. Yeah, that kind of works. And then, of course, the lid he can hold like that, or like this even if you wanted. He could look like he's about to serve you. Ooh, can I actually get it like that? Not quite. Okay. I do love that he can actually hold the trash can, though. It's a very nice touch. Let me get him with that in hand. And then there we go. Looking like he's on his way down to a Royal Rumble match. Oop. Here. There we go. There we go. Hell yeah. Bringing in a classic Hasbro, that being the Series 8 Brett, my favorite Hasbro. And I say it again. Zombie Sailor toys I love because they are a new type of line entirely with a whole new aesthetic. Hasbro I love because I think out of every toy line out there trying to recapture the Hasbro magic, they come the closest to actually copying their art style and the feel of the plastic. I'm going to pull in another new gen legend, old Giant Gonzalez. Let me zoom out. It just really feels like they come the closest to capturing the cartoony aesthetic of the likenesses, especially in the face, and the proportions feel on point. And also, there's something shiny about these guys, something shiny that you don't find in the Zombie Sailor or the Cella or the Mattel. It's the perfect type of gleam that you find on these Hasbro guys. I love Zombie Sailor a lot. I love it because they are new and they are different. But I love Hastel just as much because it's the closest to actually kind of capturing the old magic, you know? Of course, my love of Hastel is only amplified by just how good I think this trio is going to be. So this is, of course, Greg Garard, also known as Oscar from Men on a Mission. He was their rapping manager, and on the back you can see they have all the same stuff as we saw on Duke the Dumpster Drosse. You have the design documents, you have the lineup, and you do have credits down here. Still really enjoy that. But other than that, we can open it up, and I'm going to open this guy on camera to kind of show what I mean. It's actually hard to get the bubble going. It's very tight, very secure, which is great for people who want to keep these guys in the box. It means that you're not going to have these easily fall off. It is just something worth pointing out that it is secure in there. Good lord. I had to rip that thing apart to get him out. For all the greatness of the original Hasbro line, my big complaint with them, my absolute biggest complaint, is they never touched managers. We never got a Bobby the Brain Heenan, we never got a Jimmy Hart, we never got a Paul Bearer, never a Miss Elizabeth, and we definitely never got old Oscar here. But he looks so good, man. Like, I mean, just look at this. You have this gaudy costume. Looks like a children's pajamas. The purple is so rich. I really enjoy it. You have things like his wristwatch painted on. You have this wonderful head sculpt. Like, that's him, like, mid-singing, but it's also just kind of him talking. Getting a real close look at that head sculpt, I really love it, especially how they got his mustache. I could see there being a complaint about the fact that they didn't paint his tongue, but that's actually in keeping with the Hasbros. They would paint teeth most of the time. Not all the time, just like at Brian Knobs, but most of the time they would paint teeth. But they actually wouldn't usually paint tongues if the figure had an open mouth. So I think that's fine. I also just love the pose he's in. Articulation is pretty simple on him. You have rotation at the head, rotations at the arms, nothing in the waist, but I think that's all you need, and you can get some pretty varied poses with that as well. I also want to point this out. Even though it's not perfect, the yellow is better paint matched here than it is on like a lot of stuff I see from Hasbro. Like, it takes a few extra layers, and it's still not perfect here, but it's closer than I've seen companies with a lot more resources and a lot more money than Hastel do. So I think that we need to give proper bonus points for that. Of course, what would Oscar be without his boys Mabel and Mo? And I gotta say, these guys look ready, willing, and able. I adore this trio. Like, these guys are going to be front of shelf material now. This might be my favorite tag team in this entire genre of figure now. Not just talking about the sequel series, but even looking back at the original Hasbros. Having the full lineup, including their manager, makes Men on a Mission feel so... That's what I'm looking for. It makes them feel so justified for their importance. They're huge figures, taller and wider than most of the others on the shelf. They're all color coordinated. They all look perfect together. I love this trio now. Mabel already was one of my favorite figures, just period. But having this Oscar and this Mo to go with this Mabel, it just makes the entire team feel elevated. Here I am comparing Oscar to some other managers, that being Mattel Retro's Paul Bearer and Jimmy Hart, and like, again, these guys are using the same body, they're basically the same figure. You see this purpose-made sculpt that just captures this dude's energy to a T. Like, it's no contest, this is more in line with what Hasbro was giving us all the way back in the WWF days. These guys are fine, I like them, but no contest. The single highest praise I could possibly offer up these Hastel figures, these Grapplers and Gimmicks figures, is the fact that when I think of where to put them in my collection, they don't go with the sequel series figures, they don't go with the Zombie Sailors or the Epic Toys or the Mattel Retros. They go with the Hasbros, because they fit in, they match, they are perfect, and it helps that more or less Hastel is focused in on the new gen era, one of my absolute favorite eras for wrestling, one that I think really thrives with the cartoony proportions and styles of the original Hasbro line. I am completely sold on this company, on this line. I already love them after my Men on the Mission. I love them even more having Duke the Dumpster and Oscar in hand, and I can't wait for some of the figures they have coming up. I need my Rougeaus, and you better believe I'm getting those All-American boys, and the second they are here, we're going to be reviewing them too. So can I recommend these two? Yeah, I can. They're wonderful, they fit with the collection, and they are corners of the wrestling world that hasn't been given its proper due. I adore these two, and they have enriched this collection for me.